Hey, we're Saints. Good morning. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people in with us. We have been having a blast the last few days. Life is great. We're really blessed. I know that there's chaos in the world and we have to endure it, all of us. We don't suffer in America as much as others do in other parts of the world. We do have our challenges and the struggles that we have to endure, but life is really beautiful and it's a mental attitude. You got to think like that. And so today is joyous. I'm happy to be with you. Thank you guys for all of your support, your help, your prayers, especially that. We appreciate that stuff. Let me take a quick excursus. You know, people often say, thank you for the prayers. It seems like a trite thing to say, but we mean that sincerely. Just your support, your prayers, love are great. We really appreciate that. Visit us, warsaints.org. It's right there. You get your book, get it there. For those who don't have it, it's there and available for purchase. You know, I like to run for my cardio. I don't do it very well, very fast. I'm older, you know, I'm pushing 50, and though that's not old, my body doesn't do what it used to do. And a few years ago, we were having a 5K, which is 3.12 miles, a charity fundraiser at our church. And I was prepping, and you know, I was trying to get ready for just to put a respectable showing. I was probably gonna be the oldest runner in our thing. And as I was practicing, I could not break 30 minutes. That was my target. I'm gonna break 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes for 5K is not fast for those of you who are runners, but for this old guy, it was a pretty good target. And no matter what I did, no matter how I tried, I couldn't get there. I just couldn't do it in all my practice runs. The day of the race comes, and I'm like nervous because I really have this goal, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna fight. And so as I get out there, I pace myself off another runner who is a member of our parish here and was running with us in the race, and he's a legit runner. Like, hey, he put up good times. And about halfway through, so I'm like a mile and a half basically, I start to realize, oh, I've been running this first part too fast. My time was good, but I was like, I'm miserable. By the time I got to 2.1 miles with a mile left, I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, I was just literally, I couldn't breathe. My foot hurt, everything. My feet hurt. My muscles were burning, everything. Like, all that lactic acid. I was like, I'm not going to make it. And there was this fight. I remember this moment where there was this fight in my mind. Like, I have got to stop. Just walk. Keep walking. And I don't know what happened, but somewhere in that fight, of wanting to slow down and walk, I just decided, endure it. Just suck it up, pansy, and do it. Go, grind. And maybe it's by God's grace. Maybe, I don't know what it was, but I ended up continuing to run the whole thing. It was painful. I mean, there was at least twice, where I thought I wanted to pull over and throw up because I was like hurting bad. But by the time I crossed that finish line, body was hurting. Mine was, the blood was flowing, so the mind was flowing good. I ended up with my best time ever. 27:44. So that's the best time I've ever run a 5K. Haven't ever hit that mark since. But those 3.12 miles were the best time I've ever had. And I think it's because somehow I decided to embrace the pain and the suffering. Because it was. Nobody's going to die. I mean, I wasn't going to drop dead. And I certainly didn't, put the best time ever. But I endured through that pain, through that suffering, and I found myself rewarded with my best time ever. Now, I was third. I came in third. So the first guy that won was a teenage kid who is a cross-country runner, and he smoked us all. Number two was that really good runner who I started and pacing myself off of, inappropriately at the beginning. But then I came in third as the oldest guy in the race, and it was like I thought about it. I'm like, this is what Jesus is telling us about enduring, right? So in Matthew 24, all of that leads us into today's point. In Matthew 24, this is an apocalyptic chapter in the Gospel of Matthew, which means Jesus is talking about the end of times, right? Apocalypse, the end of times, when things will be revealed and God will come and so on. And there's going to be great suffering, is what Christ is saying. And that as you're living your life as a warrior saint, as a Christian, you're going to face suffering. You and I feel that already, right? I mean, we feel that right now. And the temptation is, like my temptation to pull over and walk a little during that 5K, the temptation is to quit on living the life that we're supposed to live because it gets hard and it gets uncomfortable and there's suffering. But here's Christ's message. Listen to this in Matthew 24:13. You probably already know where I'm going, but listen to this. And because wickedness is multiplied, verse 12, most men's love will grow cold. Our love for God will grow cold because wickedness is multiplied. But listen to this, verse 13. But he who endures to the end will be saved. Right? He who endures to the end will be saved. Jesus is saying, son, life is going to be chaotic, right? You're going to face those metaphorical moments when you want to pull over and walk because the run is hard. you are going to struggle and come up against people who are going to try to pull you away from living a crucifixional life. Take the easy road. Ignore God. Don't live a Christian life. You do you. Do whatever you want to do. You do what feels good to you, whatever you feel like, right? You know all those temptations that we face. I mean, like, feed the hedonistic animal. Just do you. That's like a saying, right? You do you. And that temptation is big because it's comfortable, right? The magic pill to make everything easy. But Jesus is saying, like, son, that ain't how life works, right? It's gonna be hard. Right? Because you're striving not to be normal. You're striving not to be mediocre like everybody else. You're striving to be Christ-like. And Christ went through the gauntlet, man. I mean, he went through the cross, right? Through hell, literally, right? In order to conquer his monster. And so what he's saying to all of us and encouraging us and calling us out is like, endurance, baby, endure it. Because it's going to be hard. But by going through that, look, this is the message of crucifixion living par excellence. Think about what he endured, right? The suffering, the beating, the scourging, the passion, the mocking, all that kind of stuff, and the cross, and death. But through that, he conquers the biggest monster ever, death itself, right? You see it. And he's saying, endure with me, right? Endure with me. Take up your own cross, be crucifixional, and conquer your monsters. It's going to be hard, but endure them. And when you do, you will find yourself like some, slowpoke, having your best time ever on your 5K. And what that means is, like with your physical health, let's just go through, I'm going to pick 3. Health, finances, that kind of stuff, and relationships. Think about it. If you endure through the temptations to eat ice cream and Doritos, you're going to find yourself with some physical health. It's hard. I love Doritos. My wife has them in the house all the time. My kids eat them. They all eat them. They always have ice cream in the house. I love that stuff, right? Like, and I'm tempted every day. Every time I open the freezer, I see Jenny's ice cream. Oh my God. If you don't know Jenny's, check it out. Jeni. Unbelievable, right? Like, it's sitting in the freezer all the time and I want to eat it. But it's that enduring through that I find physical health. Do you understand it? It's enduring through the pain of running that you find physical health. All right. So that's just, it's simple, but it puts it in perspective. In our wealth building, right? Like life isn't about money, but anyone who tells you it's not about money is dumb, right? Because you got to eat, you got to pay your insurance, you got to pay your bills, you got to put food on the table, you got to put your kids through college, you have to save for your retirement. I mean, those things are real, right? And as we build and amass, not fortunes to be like, look at me, but to amass security, like it's hard. And the temptation sometimes is even to blow that cash on stupid things and not to save it. And sometimes it's like, I don't want to work extra hours because it's hard and it's 40-hour work week. Come on, man. But you have to endure through that. And as you persevere and remain steadfast in that, you're going to find yourself someday with a bank account that's going to allow you to retire not at 93 years old. Do you understand? And likewise in our relationships, we've got to sacrifice because you're interacting with other people and sometimes other people are jerks, right? Sometimes you're a jerk. That's just how it works. Sometimes we do that. And as we endure those things, the temptation is to cut off a relationship, to say evil things, wicked things, mean things against somebody, to do evil things to someone, deliberately, malintently try to sabotage someone or another relationship rather than sacrifice my own ego, my own desire. But if we endure through that, following Christ's example, you're going to find yourself with a healthy relationship. Look, you hear me say it all the time. I brag about the relationship with my wife. It is the most beautiful relationship I've ever seen. I brag about that, not because I'm of any value. She's an amazing human being and I'm blessed and I'm thankful. But we both endure and struggle through those hard times. And because we're both willing to do that together, it works wonderfully, beautifully. Blessed, right? Like that's the message that I want to impart to us is that Christ, not I, but Christ is saying, endure. Like you better expect sufferings and challenges. If you want to look for a perfect, sweet, easy life, A, it's not going to happen, but B, go do it over there because it's not real. But you want to do the business. You want to find salvation. Endure, baby, and you will find yourself, just as the old fat guy did at 27:44 on his first 5K race, you too will find yourself being successful by enduring. Hope that made some sense. It did here. Hope it did here. Love you, beautiful people. We're going to be back tomorrow, as always. Visit us at warriorsaints.org. Love to have you join us on the way of the Warrior Saint. And until tomorrow, as always, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.